Hey, hopefully you can all see. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, Selena. Dave Ellis
Hi.
here.
Hi,
I
David.
just
How
I
you
just
doing?
came in. Yeah. Welcome.
Excellent.
It's just,
Okay, just letting everyone know I'm recording um, this evening's session, and hopefully I can answer some of the questions that have popped up already. Um, so, how does PTT work in Victoria? I'm confused. David, is this something you've discussed in the last hour?
oh, no, not permission to teach. That's what PTT is.
Yeah.
A little bit off topic. But okay. I don't want to consume your time there, but permission to teach uh, is an initiative that employers have to get because of a teacher shortage. They want to get they want to steal our pre-service teachers and put them in schools ASAP. And in New South Wales, they call it conditional accreditation, but in other states, permission to teach. So, um, yeah, it's a if you've got a school that is wants to have you, and if you have uh, covered 75% of your course, you've been on two pracs already, then you will be you might have a school who's interested in employing you under permission to teach. But in saying that, um, you still have to complete your initial teacher education, and if you don't complete it within a year, um, you'll be um, not cast aside, but you'll expire your permission to teach. I'm sorry, Selena.
Okay.
I'm going to turn my audio off. I'll just be here for a minute or two, and then I'll go.
No worries. So, welcome everybody. My name's Selena Giles. I'm a high school educator in New South Wales. I teach in Sydney. I periodically do work for NESA, which is our educational governing body here in New South Wales. Um, and hopefully, I can help you and guide you over the next couple of weeks through this course in conjunction with Dave. We're going to be working together and let's get started. Let's get straight into it whilst your brains are wiring very, very quickly. So, an acknowledgement to country. So, I'd like to acknowledge and pay respect to the ancestors and descendants of the lands upon which we stand and are mindful that within and without the buildings, the land will always be Aboriginal land. So I'm here on Gadigal, which is the inner city region of Sydney. And maybe if you want, you could probably share what land you come from in your area. So I'm just going to probably recap what Dave's probably already gone over, but what we're trying to achieve here, okay? And one of the big points is to think critically about learning pathways as students. So it's where they've come from and the direction in which they're going. And it doesn't end at Year 12, it's also future focused. So when we're teaching our content, it's great to have a real world view on how that content can play out and maybe potentially their future careers as well. So we're shaping them from as learners as getting a taste of the course at very early stages. And then we're building on that knowledge all the way through. And that impacts how you teach and what you teach throughout the years. And will certainly play into what kind of uh, teaching teaching strategies that you use in the classroom and how you design them. So part of this first section here, we need to look at our subject matter. So We're primarily focused on technology, and technology would have to be one of the broadest curriculum areas that you can find in any state of in any state of Australia. Particularly here in New South Wales, it's very complex and very, very broad. Even within certain subject areas, such as industrial technology, we also have another 6 areas of learning that can also happen. And what happens in your initial teaching years is that you might struggle to kind of understand how that all relates. So, how it flows, how one subject relates to the other. And also, you're trying to think about cross curriculum priorities as well, and how other subjects can come in and influence your teaching and inform your teaching practice. So, I am going to, I've given you the wrong course. So what we're going to do here is have a look at that continuum of learning. So we're looking at stage 2 and 3 in the primary years. And then we start from year 7 through to year 12. We're looking at stages 4, 5, and 6 in New South Wales. And each part of what the kids learn is built on. So you will find that through each syllabus, you have some content. This appears at first glance to be revisited, but it's not. Each time we visit a topic or a unit of work, we're building on that knowledge that we've had prior. Our teaching strategies also start to shift throughout from the early days through to the advanced. So in the early years, we tend to give set projects and limit a student's sort of design influence, or minimize it, so we don't actually take it away. It's still there, but in a small capacity. And then hopefully by the time the kids get through to those final years, they're actually really independent designers. So not just learners, but designers. So they can start coming up with their own ideas and generate them from scratch. And from all those skills that we've taught them on how to design, that they're actually able to learn the process that they're going to have to, and the processes, the skills, the knowledge that they need to execute their own personal idea. So when we're teaching, we're just not teaching the skills of making, but we're teaching the process in how to teach yourself in order to make what you want. And it's very exciting to see the kids get to year 12, and some of the projects that they design at the end is quite extraordinary. The capabilities are really fantastic. And a lot of those capabilities are built on us successfully navigating the curriculum and making sure there's a continuum of learning. So without that understanding and focus in our teaching of making sure there is a continuum of learning all the way through, that will either inhibit or it will embolden their success. So early days, when you're designing for years, like early years, year 7s and year 8s, what you want to be thinking about is what are the skills and knowledge that the kids need to build to get through to year 12, and how you already want them to be as those learners entering the year 11 and year 12 stage. So here's a little sample that Dave has given you. And if you just want to read through, so you have so the foundation through to kindergarten through to year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right through to year 12. So year 12, you can see is empty there. It's very broad. The outcomes for the courses is very much applying all of those skills that come before. Any questions at this stage? No? So feel free to speak up. Okay, we go. Okay. Just so what we want to have a look at here is the verbs. Okay, and you'll hear this a lot. This is super important. So part of what I do once a year is a senior marker with the HSC itinerant practical marking. And that's where we go travel the state and we go and mark the students' projects at their schools. And one of the things when we do training the markers is we make sure that when they're looking at marking criterias and rubrics, that they're really focusing in on these verbs. And these are super important. And you will notice that these are very much tailored to our subject for technology, and then they shift. You'll see there's a lot more across design and tech. There'll be a lot more analysis and a lot more evaluation. Where in industrial tech, there's a lot more selection, application, and description. So these are really important because these draw the links between what the kids are learning and the scope in which they're learning that content, and then also how it can be assessed either within the school or externally. Same with written marking. If you go for your whatever state that you're going to be choosing in, if you have a look at past papers and expected responses, you will notice that all the marking rubrics contain these verbs. So that's your link between success and what you're teaching in schools. And it's very important that you really explicitly teach your students to understand what these verbs mean. And it's about communicating because it's them understanding what a task requirement is. Okay, so as you can see in the lower years, we've got the use, selection, and making. So we tend to explicitly teach kids how to use particular tools. They then and show them, demonstrate through worked examples how they're used. And then they go away and they have to independently be able to select that tool and then apply that themselves. The other thing is that later on, they need to be able to justify those choices. So as they become more independent in their projects, you'll notice that they will be able to have more freedom in their decision making, and they'll be independent of you in choosing how they're going to go about a task. So it's that slow build up. So we give them a range of projects. We're very explicit. We guide them through. We make sure that they're competent in being able to select and use certain equipment or processes, and then they have to independently do that. And then they have to make sure that they can explain to you why they've chosen a particular methodology. So I'm just going to get out of this particular and I'm just going to pop back into, okay, are you able to see that new? So what we're looking at here is the link between Bloom's taxonomy and the key verbs. So as you have a look down this right-hand side, you can see that there is a direct link. And if you go through your curriculum, which we're going to do a little bit in a little while, we're going to pick one of your curriculums. And if you have a look at the front end of that curriculum, you're going to see all of these verbs. And what you will notice is that these remember, understand, and apply will tend to appear a lot more in the early stages. And then as you start getting up to that year 12, that stage 6 level, you're going to be able to see that the higher order thinking verbs will all start coming into play. So just keep this in mind. It's a lot to take on, but you will start to see these patterns forming as you're looking through. And one of the important things is to understand at this stage that these verbs are going to probably inform what teaching, what hit strategy that you're going to select for any given part of your curriculum. So this will help you later on, particularly with your assessment and choices that you're going to make. So I'm just going to focus on this part. So understanding your curriculum. Okay. And then what we're going to do is just have a little bit of a play at trying to form up a bit of flow between, how to design a graphic in terms of, I'm pressing too many buttons here. So this is the activity we're doing. So we're going to be doing a graphic where you're going to take some course content and you're going to see how it flows through. And what we will do with that is make sure that we notate it and make sure that we color code it. And that way you can start to see all of those patterns that are forming in the curriculum. So at the moment, when you're thinking about how much knowledge you've got to try and understand and to impart to the students, it can be really overwhelming. So it's a really good activity where once you see that there's a pattern that exists, as you need it and as you need to call on it, you know how to actually read through those documents. So before we actually get into this, I want to talk to you about producing graphics. So it's a really important part of your learning. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. So you're not too confused, we're going to work through an activity tonight. We're going to map out your curriculum of your choice, and we're going to talk about how you communicate using visual communication design. And this part is a real big passion project for myself. So when you're communicating an idea, it's really important that visually it makes sense and it's quick and easy to grasp. And that's important for our younger learners, and you probably will appreciate it very much yourself as an older learner. Now, I just want to get, if you can just use your hands up tool, would you be able to tell me, put your hands up if you are extremely confident using graphical tools? Okay, so hands down. So I had 4 hands up. So can I safely say that the rest of you possibly not so confident with using graphical tools? No worries. So I'm here to help, okay? So if you want to understand how to present stuff or you want some help using some graphical communication techniques, then I'm more than happy to go through your assignments during the tutorials and help you present your ideas. So to begin with, there's a couple of principles that they probably don't teach you at uni. So one of my expertise areas is multimedia, and through that I understand a lot of graphical design skills, and it's really important that you understand how the way you write text and the colors and the spacing and the composition and the layout that you use impacts a cognitive load. So when we present information, if there is a lot happening on the screen, then we tend to phase out very quickly, or we feel overwhelmed, or we feel like it's beyond our capabilities. So when we do something quite stripped back and we present it in a very thoughtful manner, then you'll find that people will grasp that information very quickly. So what I have here is for you a really short video. It's really worthwhile having a look at, and just going to take a step back and hopefully you'll find it interesting. Let me know if you can't hear it though. Okay, so no audio. Of course there isn't. I'm just going to try and work out how you think no audio. And try it again. Did you get any audio then? Still no audio?
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste that into the link. So if you just want to grab that, and so if you can see that, if you guys would just like to just take 5 minutes and have a watch, and that way, so if you all got that link, and I'll just give you 5 minutes to go through that. just raise your hand once you've finished watching the video. Okay, so we've got sorry, thanks. Most people, this is my first week back too, so I hadn't installed the sharing audio before. So Jacinta, did you particularly find that information useful or thoughtful in progressing with presenting ideas?
Yeah, it was. I'm not very savvy with like graphic design or anything like that. So it was good just to have a few key points like to follow to understand what's helpful. And
Excellent. Anybody else like to contribute?
I think for me, there was just great there's some things I guess you do naturally without thinking, like centering a picture to text, and it's like, oh, that's actually a strategy. Like hearing it, oh yeah, okay, I could call it, under that, or thinking of that white space. And I guess it's sort of, I'm trying to think, like, when did I learn that? It's just, I suppose, by looking at yeah, different designs and seeing what I think, works best for me, you then start to adapt that into your own over time.
Absolutely. And one of the things when you present to students, you need to start thinking about is the hierarchy of information as well. So, where do you want their focus to be on a page, and what information is more important than something else? So, I think it's a really sweet video that kind of gives you enough information just to like help you move forward. And at the end of that video, you'll see that there are links to typography, more about images, and more about color. And I think with this activity that we're going to do, that color is going to play into it as well. So when we have a look at, let's just go back into here. Okay, so yeah, so there's those videos I was telling you about on the side there. So they're really helpful. Now, we're going to be, here's a series of ICT tools that you can use. One of the ones that isn't there is also Canva. Canva's got some great stuff happening, and today I actually went into Canva because there's a thing called Canva Education, and it's available to teachers Australia-wide. And when I actually went in, I noticed that it didn't actually have a way for Canva teachers for pre-service teachers. So I think I might contact them about that. But you might be able to sign up as a student, which is really, really helpful. And I like Canva because it has a lot of the capabilities that all of these suggested tools have. So it's all within one package. And it also has some great templates already sitting in there for different subjects, so that you can use as a sort of like a springboard into coming up with your presentations. Now, the activity for today, and I'm actually really happy for you guys to do it in groups, because it's quite a big activity to do. So I can do some breakout rooms for you. And if you use something like Miro or Canva, you can actually create a document and you can all be working on it at the same time. So it's a graphical organizer. Now, graphical organizers tend to have symbolism. So they'll have arrows that will depict flow of information. And it's also, they generally are color coded. So when you're looking at grouping information, you might use one color, but within that group of information, if you then have a hierarchy of information, or something like in our case, we're going to be tracking early information like stage 4 up to stage 5 up to stage 6. So as you become more skilled, what you could do is then work within that one color and then start off pale and then go through to like a deeper version of the color at each step. So there's key, at a glance, there are visual cues that will help you train your eye and follow information through, particularly when you have a lot of information presented to you. So an example of this is on your module page. There are already some worked examples. So I can share that with you. So here's a worked example. So if I zoom in on this, what you can see, this pink here is stage 4, and then the pink and the yellow. Then as it goes through different stage levels, it is changing colours. So I can already, on the horizontal, see that there's a separation. You don't have to do it this way. You could do it on a vertical alignment, and this is using a Padlet tool. And then you also have something like this, which is a Miro tool. So as you can see, there's a lot of information there, and it is tracked by colour, but it's a little bit more harder to read. So even comparing these two worked examples, they've both got a lot of the information, like all the information that is required, but visually at a glance, you can see instantly that there is a definite difference. So super important when designing. So what we're going to do, let's go back to the activity. So what you're going to be having here is, I want you to pick a technology area in secondary, and you're going to just do it for 1 year group. Okay, so one stage. So if you choose if you're in New South Wales and you choose stage 4, having just year 7 and year 8, or if you've got stage 5, 9 and 10, or stage 6, you can have 11 and 12. So working with year 11 and 12 is pretty good, because we tend to have a lot of information there at hand. And then you're going to, and we're going to be working with board endorsed courses. Okay. So whatever your governing body has put up online and endorsed that can be taught, then we prefer that. You need to find out some information within those courses. So you're going to have to read the document, find how many hours that the course is, and then I want you to start color coding and grouping the information sort of visually. So actually, no, we are going to do all three stages. So go from the stage 4, stage 5, stage 6, and you don't have to color code them horizontally. You can do it vertically, but you can present this information any way you wish, and have the hyperlinks to the different syllabuses as you go. Now, what you're going to have is have a little bit of a description also of what the course actually is. So make sure that you got the name of it. So I'm going to create some breakout groups. Now, all the details are on your module 1 under the activity. And so there's 21. So probably, I think, would you prefer pairs or prefer 4?
Can we work individually if we prefer? Just because, like for example, I know like the food tech syllabus really well, but like I don't really know like the other ones.
Yep, no worries. If you prefer to do it on your own, that's fine.
Yes,
Would everyone?
Sorry.
No? Yep. Okay. Well, we'll do that then. So what we'll do is we'll work on that for 30 minutes, and you don't have to go into huge detail at all, but just map the information, and I'll get you guys to share it when you come back. So I highly recommend just start off with 1, and what you'll find is at the front end of the syllabuses, you will definitely have examples of it. So I'm just going to see if I can. Okay, let's see if I can share this Word doc. So here, for example, is the Industrial Technology New South Wales syllabus, and here's a continuum of learning just for this. That's a basic continuum of learning. So it's not color coded or anything, but it gives you an idea of roughly what you can produce. And then in that front end, it's that information of like structure, how many hours, so 120 indicative hours for preliminary. And then again in HSC course as well. So give that a go and see if what you can produce. Have anyone not use things like Miro or Prezi? Or it might take you a little while to set up Miro if you haven't used it before, but definitely jump in there and use Miro. I think it's a great tool. And have a look at Canva as well. So I will see you back here at 7:15. And I'm here if you've got any questions as well.
Hi, Selena. I have a question, I guess, in regards to my specialty. And I had this confusion a little bit when I did this course. The first one of this course because my specialty is marine, so it falls under the technologies in New South Wales, but I'm in Queensland and it falls under the sciences. And then
Yeah.
so anyway, I did well, and obviously passed that first bit, which we were able to sort of tailor technologies to a marine space. But now this is the year 12, 11 and 12 senior subjects.
Where are you going to teach?
Queensland. Yeah.
Queensland. So you'll be teaching under sciences?
Yeah, and then marine breaks into two. So you have marine science and then aquatics. And aquatics seems to be, it's more practical and has more project-based things. I was thinking I might need to email David, but whether I'm using that syllabus for aquatics or for marine science,
I'm happy for you
I'm not
to
too
do it for
sure.
the science, because the goal here for this activity is just being able to read a syllabus and understand that kind of continuum of learning. So I'm more than happy if that's your wheelhouse is the sciences. I'm happy for you to do it around that.
Yeah.
Like for this activity, because if you're more confident in that space, then you'll be able to kind of see those patterns that exist within the documents.
And then I guess for my assessment, then I also need to be able to read the documents, and I'm not sure if I should be basing it off aquatics or marine science because it all falls under the marine studies with New South Wales and that marine the aquaculture section. So I had that sort of question today pop into my head.
Is there anything in the assessment that says it has to be technology? I'm just gonna
not too sure.
Just gonna quickly pop on over and look at that assessment.
As I said, I had a quick look at the aquatics.
To teach science in Queensland?
So yeah, because I've already done the 2 curriculum courses for science. So these are like electives that they've put me under for marine, because my undergraduate was animal ecology and marine science. So yeah, I'm going to be qualified to teach science, and then my specialties then break out into biology and marine for senior.
Do you ever intend to, like, are you close to the border? Is there ever a chance?
Not really. I mean, who knows? There's always a chance at some point. But yeah, I'm in Harvey Bay. I'm like 5-6 hours from the border.
No, I wouldn't have an issue with you doing this under the curriculum you're going to teach, because these are strategies that we use regardless of the subject that we're teaching. So I think I can talk to David about it, or you can contact him directly, but there's nothing there I can see in the assessment that's saying it has to be the technology course.
Yeah, apparently they've had lots of marine students before from Queensland and Tassie, and because it sort of come up when it come up when I first did the technologies curriculum number 1, because I was like, am I in the right? Yeah. I mean, it was fascinating, but yeah, I'm very science based, so it was different. Yeah, I've enjoyed learning the technology side, and it links so much to STEM.
Yeah,
as well, which I'm currently teaching at the moment, science and STEM. So yeah, it was actually really helpful for that, and I'll find that. But I guess assessment wise, I just want to make sure I'm not going to get penalized for, I need to hit the marine side for my qualification in that specialty, but then make sure I'm hitting all the right things to get the marks as well. So yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm happy to
I
flick David an
can,
email as well, or you could chat to him and just see, just so I have some clarification for the assessments on the syllabus. I should be, or the
I can
curriculum I should be
SMS him
going through.
right now.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
cool. While I get
and
going on
yeah,
this.
yeah, and then maybe what could be interesting is that you inst maybe you could do like a dual, keep it super simple, like very little information, but just do a simple visual where you go, this is science, this is tech.
Mm,
So
that's
do like a
awesome.
parallel graph, very similar to that industrial tech one that was quite simple. And
Yeah.
have a look at
Okay.
that. But I'll message Dave now
Oh,
because
thank
that way,
you.
whatever you choose, you should be able to follow through.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
So
Sorry to interrupt, Selena, you're on mute.
Of course I am. I said sorry. I'll start again. Yeah, I've noticed a few people have dropped off. Don't feel like this is a task that you've got to completely get finished. It's about just having some time set aside so you can have a look at the curriculum, just start to look at that flow, start to get an idea of where your interest would lie, or where you feel more comfortable to sort of like start choosing a pathway for your task. So it's like going through it. So that way, once you start your assignment, you're not kind of going into panic mode, going, I don't even know where to begin. So if we kind of do a low risk sort of mapping in our tutorial, then you can kind of feel really comfortable about proceeding with your assessment task. So is anyone kind of struggling with it, or is anyone sort of feeling a little bit more enlightened, taking the time looking, going, oh, I can see how information builds?
I have a question. I don't work in schools at the moment.
Yep.
So for the stage 4, do schools do the tech mandatory, and then some schools can also do the food tech as well?
In stage 4?
Yeah, because so it says there's a food tech syllabus 7 to 10, but there's also the tech mandatory 7 to 8.
Yes. They can do it, but they tend not to. They tend to do the tech mandatory, and then they'll pick it up in year 9. So it's pretty much the same, very similar.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I saw that and I was like, oh, that's odd because there's the food in the tech mandatory. So
Yeah. And your syllabus also gets complicated like industrial tech, because industrial tech and food tech both have vet pathways, and as well as like HSC pathways in New South Wales. Unlike design and tech, like design and tech is just tech man, design and tech, year 11 and 12. So that's it. Yeah, I was just going through the Queensland, the Victoria, and the New South Wales, and just doing some comparisons between the 3 pages. And it's interesting. Victoria visually, I think, presents their curriculum quite well already, if you have a little look at that. Queensland seems to, for 7 and 10, stick to the Australian curriculum, and then has more of independent syllabuses in year 11 and 12. And New South Wales, as always, complicates things.
Really complicated, yeah.
We've got it all. So yeah, it's very interesting. How many people here are from Victoria? Anybody? No? Crickets, guys. Next Tuesday, all videos, participation. Yeah, it's so mostly Queenslanders or mostly New South Wales people?
I'm New South Wales.
New South Wales, Cassandra, Queensland. So Dave hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably gone for dinner.
Yeah, no worries. I was quite happy with the time because it's 7 o'clock. We finished 7 o'clock my time. I'm like, oh, perfect for dinner. Everyone else, it's like right over their dinner time.
I'm New South Wales as well.
Oh, excellent. And what's your specialty?
I'm currently a textiles teacher, and I will be doing some food tech this year.
What stage?
Yeah, so I'm doing food tech and textiles.
What stage food tech?
I'm doing year 8. So textiles, I'm doing 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. But yeah, so but I'm a primary trained teacher, so I'm retraining.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Oh, so you're really good. This is going to really make sense to you, this whole unit of work and the continuum of learning, because you've already done that. You've done all
Yeah.
those early years. So
Yeah, so I used to work as a technology, like teaching technology in primary school. So
oh, really?
yeah.
So what would you do? Work between the different year groups at the same time?
Yeah, so I had like a RFF role, and each class would come to me for an hour each week, and I would teach them, various skills depending on what stage they were, but also would work with the teachers as well. Like if they had a particular subject that they were doing, we could tie that in with what we were doing in my room. So, my stage 3 kids would sometimes, what were they learning about? It was the first fleet that we had to learn about making a website, and so we got them to make the website about the first fleet. So,
Oh,
try and tie it in with what they were learning in the classroom as well.
fantastic.
So,
Oh, that's gonna, yeah. So you're gonna be all over this unit, I think. You laugh nervously. I think you will. I think as long as you don't overcomplicate it in your head, I think it's
yeah,
really in your wheelhouse. Like you've got that advantage of having that, like working across those year groups and then seeing what comes next and making that next progression and building on the activities you've already learnt, you've already like executed, and with
yeah.
older kids that have built on that knowledge again.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot you do in primary school that ties in with food tech and textiles.
Oh,
there's
really?
there's a lot you do with digital tech.
Yep.
So yeah, just basic computing skills, coding. We do a little bit of, but yeah, when it comes to food and textiles, there's not a lot. There is a little bit in science. So there's like the fiber aspect in science that comes into it, but there's not an awful lot when it comes to just your general,
Is that because
thinking
primary
skills.
schools generally don't have specialized facilities?
No.
So, like, we have tech rooms and food rooms and
Yeah.
like, so like spaces for different topics.
Yeah, well, when you do the fiber content, which I'm trying to remember what stage it was that we did that. I think it was stage 1. It was about learning where fiber comes from, learning about farms and how wool comes from sheep and cotton comes from a plant, and we would have the samples of all those things for the kids to be able to play with and stuff. And we might do like a little bit of weaving, or I've got a spinning wheel, so I brought that in and showed them how that works, and things like that. But they don't, it's not as hands-on for them.
Yeah. So there is that big jump for tech. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a focus on tech in primary schools is more, the digital side.
Yeah. And I guess it's a bit more accessible given the size of most primary schools and their physical spaces too.
Yeah.
So very, very practical. And everybody else so Michelle, where are you teaching? Going to plan on teaching?
Yeah, I've got no idea. I'm very new to this.
Yeah.
Currently working in IT, but I've never worked as a teacher before.
Okay.
But I do
And
like the IT stuff.
and whereabouts, like what state would you be teaching in?
So I'm based in Adelaide. So I'm hoping I'll be teaching in Adelaide,
Excellent.
if possible. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And have you done a practicum yet?
Are you referring to placement or?
Yeah, placement.
Not yet. I'm very new. I'm a new student, so I don't know how it works. So I need to find out.
Oh, okay. So how are you going like with this activity then?
Sorry, I was coming back from work. I just opened my laptop and trying to work out. Sorry, I was traveling
That's
before.
okay.
I just got
That's all
home and
right.
opened my laptop.
So so it'd be really good like to have a look at the South Australian curriculum and
Yeah.
which Dave actually hasn't put up. Do you know how to access the South Australian curriculum?
I did found there's a website called australiancurriculum.edu.au.
Yep.
I'm trying to find the South Australia one inside that link, but yeah, I'm just browsing at the moment.
Yeah. So I would if you can work off the Australian curriculum, that will certainly help. And I think, yeah, so it looks like South Australia um, leans into the Australian curriculum very much so, from what I
Yeah,
can see.
I can find some like filters inside that website, but it doesn't let me to choose the state. I can like filter by subject and year level,
Yep.
but probably I'll have to find another link. I'll figure it out.
Jeez. So, yeah, theirs is based on the Australian curriculum. And this is really interesting because a lot of you probably would not have experienced the changeover. So we had a changeover from every single state having their own syllabus. And then they moved, like with Gillard, moved towards this Australian curriculum. And then there was a lot of hoo-ha over or a bit of ego between the different states on who taught things better, who were getting better results. Um, and then I think sort of out of everyone, Victoria retained a lot of their own and brought the Australian curriculum into their syllabuses because they felt that they just took that content a little bit further. Queensland also would take the content a bit further than the Australian curriculum. So I think the Australian curriculum did actually have a bit more in it for 7 to 10, but their year 11 and 12 was a bit more advanced. And that's why I'd say they've retained those independent syllabuses and New South Wales integrated the Australian curriculum into what they already had as well. So we've seen a lot disappear out of the New South Wales curriculum over the years. But it's still pretty comprehensive. I think the New South Wales syllabuses are a bit busy.
Right.
You feel quite manic teaching it, trying to cover everything that's expected. So, yeah, but for you, I would just stick to that Australian curriculum and just follow that through. But yeah, start
Yeah.
familiarising yourself with the website in South Australia and the Department of Education and make sure you can locate information and assessment and reporting advice that they give as well.
Yeah. Just need a little bit of research. It should be fine.
Yeah. So Desi, where are you from?
Hi, Celine. I'm from Indonesia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So will you be teaching in Indonesia?
Uh, Depending, I probably like just more like coaching. So I just taking the course to more like learning more about the teaching and stuff.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So what kind of coaching will you be doing?
So before I was doing the sport coaching, I also doing some more practical stuff like a handbag stuff, well, just a so stuff for the kids. I used to do like a paper making stuff for a lot of like art project. just small stuff, but mostly coaching balloon sport in Indonesia a long time ago.
Okay. And you're in Indonesia, not Australia at the moment?
At the moment, I'm in Sydney.
Oh, nice. So your placements, will they be in a Sydney school?
I'm not too sure yet because we didn't have any information, but for sure it will be in the New South Wales.
Okay. So I'm going to recommend that you look at the New South Wales syllabus.
Yes.
And familiarize yourself with that, because that will help you when you do have to go into a school and do a placement.
Thank you.
And start off with what's called the technology mandatory.
Oh, yes.
And that will help you sort of like map out the information. So has anyone started mapping their unit at all?
I did step in a little bit at the moment, so I was still doing it when you suddenly called me. I just been a bit surprised, sorry.
That's okay. Has anybody else done a visual map yet?
Started mapping a little bit, but I realized it was very, very large, especially I didn't realize vets could start in stage 5. I thought it was just starting in stage 6. So then it just kept getting bigger.
It does, doesn't it? It's insane. Absolutely insane. The number of pathways. And then I think when you start looking at the other states, you start seeing how more simplified it is. It's but there's a gazillion different, and there's a lot of crossover as well in content at times. I don't think many schools take up vet in stage 5.
Yeah, I know. I just had a prac at an independent school, and from this year they were going to start their year 10s on vet.
Okay.
So they were hoping to get them started in year 10, complete in year 11, so they could focus on their HSC in year 12 and still come out with like qualification as well.
Yeah, I've worked in schools where they've accelerated engineering students. And the same thing, it means that they can complete more units but also have less pressure in year 12.
At the school I was working at the beginning of last year, we had some students in year 10 who were starting vet courses because they were struggling with school. So they were, I don't know, they were coming up with behaviours that just weren't suitable for school, and they had aspirations for the future, but it was clear that they weren't going to be able to do it at school. So they were working on getting them into doing TAFE through school.
Yeah. I know there's a specialty technology school over at Burwood, and they just run vet courses. That's all they do. And they have quite a bit of success. Cash.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, how are you? Where will you be teaching?
I would be like software development or design, and along with information process. And I'm from New South Wales.
New South Wales, excellent. And have you looked at the new enterprise agreement, like enterprise computing subjects, the new units?
I have seen software engineering from the class 11 and 12 before I go through that syllabus.
Excellent. And how are you going mapping your syllabus? your units of work? Have you found something you'd like to base your assessment on?
I'm a little bit confused about that because I need to study about that more for actually about syllabus because I found it's difficult for me at the moment because for the kids it's different. As I studied information and software, that is
Yep.
quite difficult where I have to think about different way for making the assessment for the kids.
So it's still a technology subject, so you'll be able to track it.
Yeah, I got it. So I think it could be more than like coding. We have to information basis like initially.
Yep. There you go. Bohan,
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
hi. And where will you be teaching?
Oh, I'm in Victoria, so yeah, probably Victoria. Hopefully, yeah.
Excellent. And what subjects would you be teaching?
It's digital technology, so basically just developing data analysis, that kind of thing. I did my first placement, but they don't have an IT teacher in that school, yeah, which is quite unfortunate. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a shame. It is for like multimedia, and some of the computing subjects are growing in senior years. But what you'll find is there is a bit of a gap in teachers that are technology, like digital tech savvy, because we had with the industrial tech teachers, they had a big vacuum kind of disappear because they're all retirement age. And then there was like teachers that kind of didn't step into their place because it was too much of a learning curve for them, or they feared it too much.
Yeah,
And now we're
totally.
getting another wave of technology able people, but there's no one there to sort of, they know their content, but there's no one there to help them with how to pass that information on and teach it.
Yeah, that's the same, totally. And I was
Yeah.
told that at that school, the student didn't want to choose like IT related classes, so that's why they didn't offer it anymore. And
Yeah, right.
that's probably a sign. I don't really know.
And like any subject, it's what the projects are on offer as well. So some schools are doing great things with digital tech, and other schools are avoiding it.
Yeah, yeah. That school is more
So
like vocational major like focused. They like they cooperate with some TAFEs, I guess. Yeah, I
yeah,
wasn't quite come late about that, but yeah.
excellent. So what school did you go to?
Monte, Montmorency, if you know
Which
that
one?
is Montmorency.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes, most people just call it Monte. It's a little bit northeast to the modern city.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Not a girls' school, is it?
No, it's not.
No, it was co-ed. Try and there's a school called Camaragal.
Uh,
So it's in Camaray, and it's an Indigenous name, and it's Camaragal. And there's a teacher there, head teacher called Owen Tefler, and he's absolutely fantastic. And he's just gone into the school in the last few years, but he's pushing digital tech, and he's very
oh.
digital tech savvy himself. So I'll see. I'll just quickly Google it, and then I'll put it in the Regal High School. So you can teach in government schools?
I don't really know about that yet. As there's
Okay.
restrictions, I yet.
So I've just put a link in and it's called
Yeah.
Camera. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you get to ask or influence like where you get to go in the future, yeah, that might be a good idea. Okay, does anyone want to share how you've got started on this? Like even if you haven't finished, it's fine. Rowan, do you want to share?
Yeah, sure. Lena, I'm right now in Melbourne to be exact, and I've just started this course maybe 2 months ago. This is my second term, by the way.
Oh,
And,
excellent.
and I think I should be teaching in Victoria after this. And
Nice.
for my placements, I've not done any of them yet, but I'm due one like at the end of this course. That should be around somewhere October or November.
Excellent. And your specialty?
Should be in mathematics.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Excellent. So
And
this is
in the first term, sorry to interrupt. In my first term, I've already taken a mathematics course, so that's how we started.
well, oddly enough, mathematics is my other teaching area. So my first degree was a maths degree. But if you get to teach maths as well as technology, I can tell you tech will win your heart because it's a fabulous teaching environment.
Yeah, sure. My background is in tech, by the way. I'm a software engineer.
Excellent. Fantastic. So have you started drawing up a map? Have you started to color code and create a graph on how your syllabus works from years 7 through to 12?
Not as of now, by the way.
Not as now. Has anyone actually done it or started to? Could I get somebody to
It's
share what
pretty
you've
messy.
done? Hey,
I've
it doesn't
started, but
matter.
it's really messy.
It doesn't matter. Do you know, if you're not willing to fall on your face, then you're not gonna learn, right?
Yeah.
You got it all in. Let's have a look. Can you share?
I
Oh, my luck, there's a setting I
I
have
am trying to figure that out.
it down the bottom.
To
If you're
share.
in,
Okay, and then oh,
okay, just got a black
okay.
screen at the moment. Oh,
Did it
there we
come
go.
up now? My computer is
Yeah.
froze. Yeah, so it's honestly an absolute mess.
No, it's not. I can already see at a glance, like you've done that color coding. Like I can see that hierarchy and grouping of information. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I started with the tech mandatory, and then I went down the food and agriculture, which then goes to the stage 5. But then because there was also the stage 4 and 5 food tech, I've thrown that on the side there.
Yeah.
But then there was like the stage 5 food tech, then there was the vet, and then there was stage 6 food tech, and then there was the vet, and I was just like, wow, this is a mess.
Okay, but instantly, and not being a food tech teacher, I can see that at each step, you've got a choice of 2 pathways at every step.
Yeah, yes. Once you've done the stage 4, it's pretty much 2 pathways. And then I started putting in all the other pathways for like technology, but then I realized there was just way too many. I didn't even have space to do that.
No. Just even if you just got that one thread, that food tech, that's fantastic. So so you've illuminated me. Like, has that helped you?
Yeah, it has. Oh, I don't know why I've gone all blurry. Oh, I don't know.
Because that's your brain fuzzing out. It's all the steam coming off you from all that hard mental work. Anybody else want to share what they've worked on?
Mine's very minimal compared to Jacinta's.
No, because she had that side element, that path she was going to go down that is too complex. So no, it doesn't have to be complicated. It's good. Share.
Hold on, I'm trying to find the thingy because I've got the window. There it is. Because I had the window smaller so I could work on 2 screens at once.
Oh, look, and then I know you got 10 screens open and
okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, so just share.
Hold on, I'll do that one. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So because I'm doing both food tech and textiles, I focused on textiles most because that's what I'm mostly doing. But yeah, so I as well had noticed that it's 7 to 10, but I can't say I've seen any schools that teach the textiles syllabus in year 7 and 8. They all seem to do the mandatory tech.
Yeah.
And then, textiles falls under the materials and production processes. And I would have loved to have been able to move the little arrow down to fit with that, but it wouldn't let me. And then, food technology fits into food and agriculture. And if I had time, I would love to then branch that all out into all the others that it also covers. I don't have time to do that.
No, and that's fine. Like that's perfect. So it's getting that understanding of that pathway. And so are you starting to lean towards possibly doing a textiles related unit for your HIT strategies?
I probably would do that, given that at the moment I'm teaching year 11 and 12 textiles, but I'm not doing food tech for year 11 and 12. So it would make more sense for me to do that, seeing as that's what I'm doing. So
what I would do is only follow your textiles down through to year 11 and 12.
Yeah.
And I would suggest this for everybody. Maybe just have a look at, start looking at the verbs getting used throughout each level, because that verb is going to feed into what teaching strategy you're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we want kids to use something, then we're usually pretty explicit in its use, and then we get them to do it. So your verb will dictate, the different verbs will lean in and dictate what high impact teaching strategy you'll have.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking of doing something for my year 11s, because I've got most of the year 11s who are coming through have done textiles in year 9 and 10, but there is a little handful who haven't done anything. And so I have to come up with something for them, just, because they haven't done anything textiles since year 7 or 8. And some of them have already come to me last year and been like, hey, we're a bit worried.
It's funny, someone today put exactly the same scenario. Their first year of teaching multimedia, they've got half the class have done it through stage 5, half the class have just picked it up, and they were like, what do I do? And that's it's someone already in the system. And It's not uncommon. And what I always say is come back to the core course. So it's no required prior learning.
Yeah.
So you take the content and you teach the content for what the content is, and then you're going to have your extension. So then you differentiate that. So don't think you have to teach the content any different. But how you pick up that slack is definitely in your differentiation.
Yeah. The year 9 class that I'm picking up have never done any textiles.
Yeah.
So for them, I'm starting with it's like a work booklet sort of thing with different sewing techniques in it. And we're just going to work through those and then do the theory as well beside it. And then the teacher that I'm covering, she's on a maternity leave. She suggested maybe doing something like a little pin cushion or something with them. And then they can use that in future projects. And then I was kind of almost thinking I might do like a mini version of that for the new year 11s who haven't done anything, just like a quick crash course on basic techniques. But yeah, I don't know.
And that's that thing though. It's like you instantly try, like your first sort of reaction is to get those kids up to the advanced ones.
Yeah.
Because we always look at year 11 and 12 as an extension. So, and it is hard because you do cover the content a bit quicker with a knowing audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that's where I would push the extension work, because it doesn't go much further. Like the content doesn't go much further than what it has. So you don't want to hold those kids back. So I would teach to your slower kids and extend your good kids, because ultimately the theory, you're just consolidating it for the advanced kids, but it does give them room to then kind of push the boundaries in terms of what they're going to be doing for major works.
Yeah.
So it'll free them up. You can go, oh, so we're learning this stitch style, like we're learning these 3 and here's another 2. Off you go.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to nail it.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. Can we get one more? Is there one more to share? But everyone's running away. We're down to 13. Any more?
Still a
Jim?
bit messy if you want to have a look with this.
Yeah, Desi, go ahead. Show us what you've got.
Lot of stuff on, so I just make a course overview and something, but yeah, I still didn't get the chance to put everything, the content and stuff, but I just separate the course overview, house placement, learning outcomes, and the key activities. But yeah, the color coding not uniform yet.
No, but is there are you building to something with the
I
colors?
was planning to make a letter on the course overview, which one like subject, like for the student, like the one we aiming for, like for the example, what I should show in the food handling and kind of stuff, and bit links for my resources. And the house place assessment, I just see from the New South Wales education, so that one is kind of placeholder. The focus on learning outcome, I probably need to make a more result, still placeholder from the New South Wales, the curriculum. Key activities is probably is a more flexible, which is the teacher gonna plan to do with the student. That's what I assume from my last placement.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I
still
can see with your color coding though, that visual flow too.
Yeah.
So I can, even though this is running vertical,
Yes.
I'm also reading it as like down and then back through. Like I can
Yes.
find that flow. That's really lovely.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking probably put side by side like the previous example, but I still didn't get the chance to fix everything yet.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you guys have got a cracking start. So it looks like in terms of what you're going to want to pick for this assessment, I think you guys are going to be able to draw that out pretty quickly. I don't think anyone's going to have an issue with that. So, which is really good. And when we come back, I'm just going to, so why am I there? That's not what I wanted to share. Okay, so when we go back into here, so this is what you've done, right? So you've essentially now had a look through your curriculum. You're probably finding out, like, because we have such breadth of curriculum, you're probably starting to go, oh, I'm starting to favor certain parts of the curriculum. But considering we also tend to have a tendency to specialize, even though we're all generalists, but we do specialize. And so hopefully you're starting to get an understanding of what direction you're going to have, and then how to extrapolate out the important information from what you're going to choose. And then you're going to move into those hit strategies and selecting those. But what you need to do once you've made that decision here, and then you start digging into, if you start then digging into your outcomes, so for whichever you choose, then you're going to start following the verbs. And what I would recommend is that you choose your unit, and then you go and you start highlighting the verbs and do it in your outcomes, and then also do it through the content. And just only do it for the tracking that you're going to do for this assignment. And then that is definitely going to lean into what kind of teaching strategy you're going to use. So down here, the apply, the understand, the remember, that's where you're going to have that explicit teaching, definitely. Okay, so you're going to need your worked examples. When you're in that middle part of that Bloom's taxonomy, that's where you start getting collaborative and giving them multiple exposures. Questioning you can do all the way through, but it's the style of questioning. So questioning is a big strategy, but it's so multi-leveled. So if you're going to use it with the younger ones, you tend to be a little bit more closed, and then because you'll be testing for understanding. But as you get older, they're a bit more open-ended, and you're trying to get a little bit more critical thinking out of your senior kids. So that's a strategy that you could use all the way through. And then you've got your metacognitive strategies, so which is much further down the track. And so, yeah, start following that stream, keep on that. So with what we've started tonight, abandon sort of like what you don't need and start mapping it for the topic that you're going to want to cover for your assessment. And then start going into those, start highlighting your syllabus with the verbs, and then start looking at those high impact teaching strategies and start thinking about, well, if this is a topic, like, Natasha, you were saying you were thinking about a year 11 group, and you started to hone into a very specific set of sort of like syllabus outcomes. So then have a look at that outcome, look at that course content, analyze the verbs around that course content, and then start looking at that taxonomy, and then go, okay, well, where does it sit in there? Where does these verbs best fit, and then that could help. Well, how do I get kids to achieve that? Like, how do I get creation out of them, or how do I get recall out of them? The other thing is, don't just stick to the plain Bloom's taxonomy if you're wanting to look for teaching impacts. Have a look at Bloom's digital taxonomy. I'm not too sure if you've heard of it. It's kind of emerged over the last few years, but it's about using digital technologies up against the Bloom's taxonomy to achieve those cognitive processes, same processes through digital methods. So that should help you out as well when looking at a high impact strategy. So does anyone have any questions before I let you go, or questions about what's coming up, questions about me, questions about you, anything at all? No? Okay, well, thank you very much. A bit bumpy the first week, and it's a lot to take on, and you're probably totally cooked, but hopefully there's one or two things that you'll marinate on this week. And you know, if you remember half of it, winning. But I'll be here to help you out with your assessment, as well as Dave, and Dave will be taking you for most of the content, and I'll just be doing some activities with you on helping you sort out how you're going to work through this assessment. But it's lovely to meet you all, and have a really good week. So thank you.
Thank you.